G'day GameLeapers, how are we? Coach Cheeks welcoming you to the Ultimate Seraphine Guide. In this video we are going to be covering her abilities, tips and tricks, combos, and finally the best runes and builds to make sure you win every game in 1022. This amazing in-depth guide is the only one you need to learn the ins and outs of the starry-eyed songstress and why everyone will start banning her after seeing you hard carry. Quick shout out to our website GameLeap.com. If you are serious about unlocking your potential on League, then look no further. The market leader in providing you with informative videos, courses and guides, uploaded and updated on a daily basis. Please remember to like the video, we really appreciate it, and subscribe so you stay up to date with our must-watch daily uploads. Let's get into it. Seraphine's passive is Stage Presence, comprising two innate passives. The first is called Echo and the second is called Harmony. For Echo, Seraphine generates an Echo stack each time she casts a basic ability, QWE, stacking twice. At 2 Echo stacks, Seraphine's next basic ability casts again, at no mana or cooldown cost. Seraphine starts the game and respawns after death with 2 Echo stacks. There are 4 ways to know how many Echo stacks you have. The stack counter underneath your HP bar, it starts on 1 bar, so the second bar is 1 stack and the third bar, which turns pink, means you are fully stacked. The buff icon above your HUD also lets you know. The color of your abilities also changes, so blue is 1 stack, pink is 2 stacks, golden is ready to unleash, and Seraphine's music platform below her glows when Echo is fully stacked. I'd recommend turning your contrast up in your video settings so the glow is more visible. Also looks pretty cool. Seraphine's second innate passive is Harmony. When Seraphine casts an ability, ultimate included this time, she gives herself and allied champions a note, capping at 4 notes per ally, so a maximum of 20 notes, that lasts 6 seconds. This timer resets each time a note is granted. The next basic attack gains 25 attack range per note and fires all of them at the target, dealing magic damage for each note. Maximum range of course is 500. The notes will fire from allied champions regardless of how far away they are. The bonus attack range is also indicated in faint blue, and on top of that these notes deal 200% bonus damage to minions. In game, notes are the blue crystals orbiting Seraphine and allied champions, each crystal denoting 1 note. There is also a buff icon above the HUD with a number indicating the number of notes granted and a clock-like countdown of the 6 seconds you have to auto-attack to use all your notes. Seraphine's Q is High Note. Seraphine hurls a sound wave at the target location that expands upon impact, dealing magic damage to enemies in the area and extra damage depending on the target's missing health. The lower they are, the bigger the additional damage. Seraphine's W is Surround Sound. Seraphine spurs her nearby allied champions in song, granting herself 20% decaying movement speed, her allies 8% movement speed, and everyone in the 800 radius is shielded based on level and increases by 30% of ability power. If Seraphine is already shielded, and this does not have to be sourced from her W, she calls out to her allies, restoring 5% of their HP, which is amplified by the amount of AP Seraphine has. This takes place 2.5 seconds after Seraphine casts her W. Think of this effect like a redemption active. Seraphine's E is Beat Drop. Seraphine unleashes a sound wave in the target direction, dealing magic damage to enemies in a line and slowing them by 99% for 1 second. Enemies that are already slowed are rooted instead, and immobilized enemies are stunned. Seraphine's R is Encore. Seraphine projects a captivating force that chants for 1.25 seconds, deals magic damage, and reveals enemies. Any champions struck become part of the performance, extending the range of this ability. There is no limit to this. Allied champions also gain maximum notes. Here we go guys, the tips and tricks. Who's pumped? If you are feeling generous, you can leash your jungler with High Note and return to lane without missing any minions. Your Q does not make a sound when it hits an enemy in fog, so make sure when checking brushes to use your E, because you will hear a sound that indicates an enemy has been hit. Because High Note will fire from wherever Seraphine is at the end of cast time, you can Q flash. Your Q will not change from the target location when you cast it, so you can Q and flash backwards or to the side, which would be useful if enemies are chasing you, and flashing towards would be useful to give enemies less time to react. When High Note deals its maximum increased damage, which is when an enemy champion is on less than 25% HP, a cosmetic critical strike appears. Important to remember that your Q does not have any added effect when used with your Echo stacked. Your W heals on top of shielding, your E roots or stuns on top of slowing, so your Q should be used with 2 Echo stacks to maximize damage. If the target is below 25% HP and you cast 2 High Notes, you will do 100% extra damage because of the execute passive. As mentioned, Surround Sounds heal procs from any shield that Seraphine has at the time of cast, like Barrier for example. Like High Note, Beat Drop is cast from wherever Seraphine is at the end of the cast time, meaning you can E flash. This would be great at setting up ganks with your Echo passive stacked because the enemy has barely any time to react and it guarantees a root. There is one very fancy trick with Beat Drop. When empowered, you can change the direction of your second E, but you have to time it perfectly. Just at the end of the initial cast time, which is a quarter of a second. Once you get the rhythm down, it's actually pretty easy. You would rarely use something like this, but it's still useful even if you need it for one situation out of a million. Also good to brag about. Likewise, you can cast Encore from wherever Seraphine is at the end of the cast time so you can R flash. This would also be great at setting up ganks and initiating fights, especially earlier in the game because the enemy has close to no time to react and you guarantee a 1¼ second charm. Remembering that your ultimate range extends when it hits any champion, let's look at some cool situations you might take advantage of this. Situation 1. The enemy bot lane and jungler are doing dragon and you cannot get to the fight immediately. If a teammate is running in front of you down to Drake, you can R in their direction so it travels through them onto the enemy champions. Of course, the important thing here is to be in line, so you might even have to R flash to reposition. Same thing could be done at Baron. Situation 2. The enemy mid laner is clearing a ward and a mid brush, and your jungler is standing on the other side of the wall ready to go in. The only way you land your R on the enemy would be to ult through your jungler. Situation 3. Malphite just landed a massive ultimate onto the entire enemy team, but you aren't in a position to hit all 5 with your ultimate. You can create this angle by R flashing to the side. Here are some general tips for laning and teamfighting on Seraphine. In lane you are very vulnerable to ganks, so use your W and E carefully. Your Q is your main form of wave clear and damage, so feel free to use that to shove waves and harass your opponent. To shove waves as quickly as possible, use your echo stacks with your Q so you can deal twice the damage on the wave. Your notes are extremely useful at taking turrets and objectives, so if you have the mana for it, spam your spells and use your harmony passive as much as possible. When setting up ganks for your teammates, trying to land a max range E will rarely land nor work, so focus on guaranteeing your CC by proccing Glacial Augment first with your auto attacks, or you can always R flash onto the enemy. This should work most of the time because the width is huge and it's just very hard to miss. For teamfights, once you get caught, you are dead. Same with laning. Playing around your cooldowns is essential because that way we maximize our utility and setup, so we want to stay alive as long as possible. Playing around vision control and using your range on your E and R to try pick enemy champions is a great way to secure objectives like Baron and Elder Dragon later in the game. Before we get into the combos, fam, please remember to leave a like if you are enjoying the Seraphine guide and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our sick daily uploads that are designed to help you improve. Let's start with some basic ability combos. Note that some of these, well all of them, include runes and items and we will cover these shortly. Combo number 1. The Invade combo. When you auto attack an enemy champion with Glacial Augment, your E roots the target. But here's the thing. Because you spawn into the game with full echo stacks, your E casts twice. So the first cast roots, and the second cast acts on the first and stuns the enemy. So your level 1 is incredibly strong, and if the enemy champion does not flash your echoed E, they give you 400 gold guaranteed. Combo number 2. The EQ combo. Auto attack, E, Q, auto attack. Leading with your auto attack with Glacial Augment for the first few levels is optimal. You slow the enemy champion and this means your E is easier to land and it will also root the target. As a result, your Q is guaranteed to hit, and make sure to get in one more auto attack to use the 2 notes you would have collected. Early game auto attacks really matter, especially on Seraphine because of her harmony passive. Combo number 3. The Echo Stack combo. Auto attack, E, W, Q and Q, auto attack. Same idea as number 2, but we're using our echo stacks with our Q to maximize our burst damage, so the W in between your E and Q is really important here. This chunks enemy mid laners regardless of how tanky they are and guarantees a kill if the enemy is on 50% HP or less because of the double execute. Combo number 4, the trade combo. Auto attack, E, Q, W and W, auto attack. This is the safest way to deal damage and disengage. You won't deal nearly as much as the Echo Stack combo, but you will take little to no damage in return, and even if you did, your heal from your second W at the end restores that loss of health. Combo number 5. The Twin Shadows GLP combo. You can use either of these items to lead this combo, rarely would you need to use both, so I'll give you an example with GLP. GLP, W, E, Q and Q, auto attack. Once you buy a GLP, it will be mid-game, and it's a lot riskier to lead with an auto attack the later the game goes, so we lead with GLP. W for the stack and movement speed, E to root and fully stack echo, Q twice, and auto attack to use notes. Remember, when you use your abilities, your auto attack range increases because of your harmony passive, so at the end of a 4 ability combo, you have at least an extra 100 range on your subsequent auto attack. Now let's take a look at the only ultimate combo you need to make the enemy team rage quit. The ultimate echo stack combo. Sounds like I'm advertising Burger King right now, doesn't it? This is the go-to combo and the only one you really need to master. R, E, W, Q, and Q auto attack. You lead with your ultimate and the rest is a formality. Beat drop stuns the charm targets. W gives you 2 echo stacks, meaning both your Qs will land and deal the maximum amount of damage, and then auto attack to discharge your notes. Bang. Of course, the order of some of these combos can be changed, for instance using your W at the start of the old combo. But the key to playing Seraphine, regardless of the combo you are using, is playing around your echo stacks. That's what will separate the best from the rest. We've now reached the last chapter of this guide, guys. Runes and builds. Let's start with runes. Seraphine for me is a mix between Nico and Sona. Her Q and E are similar to Nico's and her W and R are like Sona's. Because mid is the most viable role for Seraphine, I'd recommend this page. Glacial Augment is your keystone, Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, and Approach Velocity. Choose Domination as your secondary tree with Cheap Shot and Ingenious Hunter. For your minor ins, take Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and Armor or Magic Resist depending on your opponent. Glacial synergizes with everything in Seraphine's kit, as I'm sure you've learned, especially her E. Against Assassins and Heavy Burst champions, I would recommend taking Perfect Timing instead of Footwear. Biscuit Delivery is for that extra sustain in lane and affords you to spam spells. Approach Velocity complements Seraphine's W, giving her more movement speed and utility in fights. Every enemy you hit with an auto attack, E, Ultimate, GLP, Twin Shadows is going to be movement impaired, which activates Cheap Shot. That's most of her kit. Ingenious Hunter is for Hextech, GLP, and Twin Shadows. Attack speed is great for the early game, and auto attacks are a crucial part of Seraphine's early laning phase as they proc Glacial Augment. Adaptive Force is a no-brainer, as is Armor or Magic Resist, depending on the mid matchup. Now for the best build. We have to build according to what Seraphine does best, and that's to control fights with her AoE, crowd control, and utility. I would recommend starting Corrupting Potion for your early trading and sustain, but Doran's Ring would still be a fine choice. Take that once you are comfortable on Seraphine. Your first major item is Hextech GLP, so in the early game your goal should be to buy a Lost Chapter first. If you can't, then buying a Dark Seal, Amp Tones, and D-Rings will suffice, then a Blasting Wand into the final product. I would then recommend Twin Shadows and finishing off your Lucidity Boots. This means that 3 items you already have 40% cooldown reduction. Now, in some games where you're versing heavy CC, I'd recommend Merc Treads. Those 3 items are her core. Your last 3 items depend on what the enemy team composition is and how fed you are. Rabadon's Death Cap is a great 4th item, and I would follow that with Leandri's Torment and Avoid Staff. Alternative items include Zonya's Hourglass and Morella Nomicon. Again, just depends on the game you are in. For your summoner spells, take Flash and Teleport. And for your skill order, take Q first, E second, W third, max out Q, then E, then W, and level your ultimate at the earliest available ranks. I wish you all the best of luck on the Starry-Eyed Songstress, and I'm sure this guide will help you out in mastering Seraphine. Thanks so much for watching the entire video. Leave a like to help the video out, subscribe so you don't miss any of our sick future uploads, and make sure you check out our website GameLeap.com. Videos, courses, guides, hundreds of them, all made by challenger level players and coaches to help you improve your game. This has been Coach Cheeks. Until next time, peace.